Hi guys, welcome back to another sort of deep dive into my journey with, mental health, mental toughness, eating, body image, all sorts of the inside scoop into me and how I've kind of handled different things throughout my career. Today we're going to be talking about my relationship with food and how over, the last probably 5 years, I've had very extremes of relationships with food and how I've ultimately found sort of a happy medium and found a happy relationship with something that I love, which is food. And I know so many of you love food as well. So we're gonna dive right in. Thank you again for coming back. And let's get started. So first and foremost, just talking a little bit about kind of my relationship with food in the past. I've been really unhealthy on sort of both spectrums where I've overeaten and I've also undereaten. Hi, she never stops eating. In terms of overeating, for those of you who know or don't know, my freshman year, I definitely fell victim to overeating, and not overeating in terms of like calories, but also overeating just in terms of eating junk and eating bad things. And I, think back to my diet my freshman year of college, and there was, very few vegetables, very few, leafy greens and fruits and whole grains and lean meats. And it was a lot of processed food and a lot of Chipotle and Panda Express and, late night pizza and fried chicken and all of these things that tasted amazing that I loved, but weren't necessarily great for me as a Division I athlete. And on top of that, in college, you're starting to drink, and alcohol definitely played a part in my sort of overeating, over drinking phase of college. And on the other spectrum, my junior year, I went to a place of under-eating in general. So I wasn't eating bad things now, but I also wasn't eating good things. And I was eating probably the bare minimum of what I needed to sustain me from day to day. I, clearly remember a day where I ate like a little bit of rice. I didn't eat all day. And then for dinner, I ate, a little bit of rice, some chicken, some peppers, and that was it. And mind you, I'd worked out 3 times that day as well. So I definitely kind of was on this pendulum ride with eating, and eventually, from overeating, I went to healthy and sort of where I felt good and had a healthy relationship. And then from my healthy relationship, I went to undereating, and then eventually came back. And this is sort of where I've been, can you lay down please? This is sort of where I've been kind of steady since my junior year, which was in 2015, sort of that beginning of the year. So I think for me, the whys are important, and why was I overeating? Why was I undereating? Why did I not have a healthy relationship with my food? I'm no psychiatrist, but I think for me, it all was circled around different insecurities. My freshman year, everything's new and you're trying to fit in, and, you're trying to find your place, and the stress of being away from home and trying to find that place, I think caused me to, overeat emotionally. But I also, food was a big part of kind of where we made friends. You'd want to go to dinner with your teammates and with people in your class, and sometimes I would eat 2 dinners, and no one really noticed, but it definitely, I started to overeat more than I should. And, I think for undereating, I think a lot of that came from like outside pressure and seeing myself in magazines or TV or, in pictures with little girls, and realizing how visible I was, and, very subconsciously wanting to kind of perfect that image and make myself good, which made making myself skinny. So I feel like those insecurities about, different things, whether it was wanting to fit in or wanting to look perfect, really started to kind of play a toll. And kind of hinder my relationship with food. In terms of, you know, things that I do now and things that I used to do when, you know, I was in a good spot, kind of in between my bad spots. A couple of different things. One, the 80-20 rule. So for me, that means, you know, trying to eat healthily 80% of the time. So lean meats, you know, whole grains, fruits, veggies, smoothies, putting fuel into my body that's good for me and that can benefit me, but also taste delicious. And then 20% of the time, you know, I'll eat what I want. And that could be pizza, that could be Chipotle, that could be, you know, a yummy grilled cheese, or, you know, big bowl of ice cream. I have a huge sweet tooth. And I think that balance, not denying myself when I want something sweet, but also making sure I'm putting good things into my body other times, and most of the times, has worked for me. But everyone is different. I think other things, you know, you only live once. You know, for me, thinking about it, I was like, oh gosh, I guess this is like the YOLO rule, where, you know, I'm not going to deny myself things I want to fit into, you know, a pair of pants, or to appear, you know, a 1/18 of an inch, you know, skinnier in a magazine. And so if I, you know, I have cookies here, and if I want a cookie, I'm gonna eat a cookie. Or if I wanna go get a snowball, I'm gonna go get a snowball. And I think our lives are too short to deny us the things that we enjoy. And I'm lucky because I enjoy eating healthy foods as well. But there are days when I'm craving salt or sugar or grease, and I go for it as well. Because, you know, one meal isn't gonna kill me, and it's not gonna make me imperfect. It's gonna make me happy. Other things, I think the big thing for me, you know, as I was on this pendulum ride, was I was at my healthiest when I viewed fuel as food as fuel, which was a good thing. And so food is the fuel for our vehicle, which my vehicle for everything I play is lacrosse, and everything I do is my vehicle is my body, which helps me play lacrosse, excuse me. So for me, I needed to view food as the fuel for my body, which helped me be able to do something I love, and to be around teammates I love, and to go to new countries, and all these different things come back to my body being the vehicle, and lacrosse being sort of the way I choose to express myself. And so food is fuel, and in order to operate at high efficiency, you need good fuel. And when I started to view food as fuel and not as either something that didn't matter, where I could eat as much of it as I wanted to, and whatever kind of fuel I threw in, I'd be good, or in the opposite, where I was running on E. When I started to view it as I need it because it's going to help me, that shift in mindset really helped me develop a better relationship with eating and with food. And I think the big thing, you know, something that I've talked about, and I hear offhand comments, and something that, you know, I really try to do is not punish myself after I eat what I want. You know, I'm gonna eat a cookie for dessert. I'm not eating this with the intention of, okay, but tomorrow I'm gonna go burn it off. Or tomorrow, or, you know, after I eat this cookie, I'm gonna go run 2 miles on the treadmill to make sure, you know, it doesn't count. Those calories don't count. And that's just not the way. I don't think that's a healthy relationship with food or exercise. So it's really important, like, if you're gonna, you know, in the moments I eat, you know, the 20% that's not great for me, I enjoy it, and it's not a punishment. I don't really see it as a cheat meal. I just see it as, you know, a meal that I'm gonna eat. But I make sure to not go into it eating it with the mindset of I'm going to work it off later or punish myself for it, because at the end of the day, then I'm not enjoying the food I'm eating, and I'm developing a bad habit with exercise as well. Because similar to, you know, how food is our fuel, exercise is what gets our bodies moving, and it's supposed to be a good thing, and you're supposed to, you know, enjoy working out. And that's how it is for me. And anytime, you know, I start to use exercise as a way of like punishing myself for eating food, that just seems like a bad relationship to me. So those are sort of the things that helped me along my journey. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but you know, as I start to think about these topics, those are things that I either consciously or subconsciously, you know, think about and do in my practice to kind of have a healthy relationship with food. So my goal for you guys and my hope for you guys is that you too can develop your own healthy relationships, you know, either with the help of some of the things I've said, or a nutritionist or a dietitian or a sports psychologist, psychiatrist, what have you. But at the end of the day, we only live for a short time and we need to eat. And I want to make sure I eat yummy foods and good foods. And most importantly, eat the things that will help me live a healthy life. So with that, toodaloo, see ya from me and Zena from our house. Tune in next week. We're going to be talking about kind of how I handle pressure and how I've let the pressure sometimes get to me and kind of what I do to keep that from happening. So until then, see you guys. Stay safe.